Okay, so here's the first weekly chat. What I'm having to do today because I didn't have any people that were actually on today. I gotta play with it. I'm gonna be doing it every week, but I think maybe I gotta tweak the times and stuff in certain places. School season's going, but as we get out, I don't want to not do it just because there's nobody on. Still want to put out that content and post it so you can have something to look at. Now, I'm actually going to just answer this question that I was asked within the last 4 days. And it was a parent asking me about the term daddy ball. Like, what is daddy ball? And, you know, they were really confused because they said they heard the term, in practice and stuff. And so I explained to them, I said, well, what it is it's basically the coach is coaching the team, but their child plays on the team. Now, it's usually referred to as daddy ball, but sometimes you'll have, moms who are coaching that are doing daddy ball, but generally it's daddy ball. So as I started to explain it to them, some things seemed to make sense because they were like, oh, okay, they see this and that. And what I explained to them was really, I always try to have uh, parents to avoid teams where the parent is coaching and their child is playing on that team. And it's look, parents, coaches mean well. A large majority of them they mean well. They're doing it out of the kindness of their heart, try to help. But and then there are other ones that they're doing it for other reasons or whatever. But the ones that mean well, they don't always understand the dynamics of the goal, the assignment, if you're going to coach. So, uh, the problem with Daddy Ball, and this is one of the biggest complaints that I get when they talk about Daddy Ball, is simply this: with Daddy Ball, if if the coach's child makes mistakes, they don't take them out. But if the other parent's child makes one mistake, they're immediately taken out of the game. And then parents are like, "Well, I don't get that." And there are two trains of thoughts. One is, well, if that player that makes mistakes, they're still aggressive and they can be trusted. That's usually why they leave them in. But in these instances, usually it's like lower, and you want to just be able to play. So I always, say that you shouldn't do it, and one of my reasons is this: it creates a whole lot of stress and tension on a team, on an organization, because you know that coach usually has to coach their child differently. They have to make sure that their child, that everybody knows that they're not playing favorites, right? So they have to get on their child harder. Uh, the other thing is, when does that child know when the parent is dad and when there's coach? Because like you could say, hey, you know what? After the game, we're gonna go to McDonald's and get some, get you a ice cream cone, whatever. Just and then during that game, dad is really on his butt because he makes mistakes and stuff, and he's yelling. At some point, when the game is over, the kid has to wonder, well, am I still gonna go to McDonald's and get ice cream? And then if dad is constantly on the kid after the game, when does the coaching cap come off and you go back to dad, right? And then the child is going to feel pressure because the other kids know that that's their dad, and they probably hear from other parents, their parents, about what they disagree with because they do this, and then they can tease the other player. So then that player is getting that issue, right? So it's I'm not saying it can't work. There are some situations where it worked. Now the coach has to treat their child like just a regular player, right? You got to set boundaries. Like, you know what? When we practice, we only practice, right? We're at practice. Once practice is done, I'm dad. We don't talk about things. Now, if you want to ask me a question, then I'll be happy to answer it. But I'm going to try to figure out how to answer it as dad as opposed to coach. So it's really tricky, but it can be done. You have to make sure there are boundaries put up. And, as parents, you want to really try to talk to them and find out what the dynamics it is, if your child's gonna play on that team, because I can't tell you on an average basis how many parents come and tell me that that's a problem. Right now, like I said, I know some parents that coach, and they do a fabulous job. So I'm not talking about them, right? And that's one thing that we have to kind of understand. If there's something in general, it doesn't mean that it's everyone. So if I don't, I always try to make sure I say, some or most. I always try to stay away from all, okay? Because you never know. But what I will say is most, well, I don't even say I will say most. I'll just say a lot do a really good job with coaching. I mean, I know some personally that coach their child, and I've never heard anybody complain about the about her coaching when she's coaching her child, and she does a great job with what she's doing as a coach. And I can see genuinely the parents, the players, they really respect and everything when she talks to them. So it's a good thing. It can be a good thing, but I always say you got to have boundaries. You have to know what you're doing, what you're going to be able to do as that coach. If you're going to have your child on that team, because if your child is better than the coach's child at that particular position, whatever position it is, then that would probably tell you if that coach is really trying to coach uh, because they're coaching their child, or if they're coaching a team, right? Because then you should say, you know what, they're better. Then you're going to come off the bench for them, or you're going to play this position and they're going to be lead guard or whatever position, whatever it is in that situation. That's how it should go. Um, Something that just popped up in my mind was when it comes to daddy ball, right? When it really comes to daddy ball, one of the biggest issues is that the parents don't always know that they are playing favorites. It often has to be shown to them or brought up in certain situations that, look, my child had, hit three threes in a row, and then you sub my child out and my child didn't make any mistakes. You just subbed them out. And now your child is shooting, but your child isn't hitting, right? And sometimes, you do it that way. Like, there are some coaches that coach because they're trying, and this is usually as the kids are getting older, they're trying to get their kids looks, right? And they take it on because sometimes maybe their child was playing on a team and they didn't get fair, you know, opportunities, which is weird because you would think if that's what happens, you start your own team, you would think, hey, you know what, I'm going to give everybody opportunity. But, needless to say, some don't. And they're really trying to feature their child. I've actually heard coaches tell players, I'm only coaching this to get my child a look, right? So it's basically, I just need four of y'all to come in and play so we can have a team, right? But I'm trying to get my child a look, which is oddly, it's very honest. It's very honest, and you got to respect it. It's messed up, but you got to respect it because they tell you from the beginning what they're looking at doing. And then as a parent, you got to make a decision, if you're going to play on that team or not. Obviously, you can play on that team, as long as you're getting playing time, right? Because that one child can't play the whole game. You got to have four other players. But, you want to see how that coach's style is and stuff like that. So, daddy ball is it's a thing. Mommy ball, it's a thing across all sports, right? And the more that you try to not really understand it, but accept it when you can, when you have to, rather, avoid it when you can. Okay, avoid it when you can, because it You know that it can get bad. I'll share a story with you, and you know what? Now that doesn't apply because the dad wasn't actually coaching, but the dad was really involved. So I'll save that story for another day. But when it comes to Daddy Ball, you know, there are things that you just have to look at when you're if you're going to play on that team. Ask questions. I always tell parents, before you make a decision, go to the practice, watch them practice, watch the practice, watch how they practice, talk to some of the parents, talk to the coach, let your child practice with them if you can, right? But make your decision after you watch an actual game, because when you watch an actual game, it will show you everything you need to know. You'll understand, what it is. Like, for instance, if they tell you, oh yeah, well, we just let them play. We don't do believe in all of that. And then you go watch them play, and it's like 12 kids on the bench, but only like 7 of them play or 6 of them play. And then it's like, hey, I thought everybody played. Oh, well, it's because it was a close game and stuff. Well, I guess winning means something to you, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with um, doing that, but just let everybody know. Okay. So this was the first weekly chat. I usually try to do a 30-minute chat, but today I'm just gonna do for however long it is. I hope to I'll post when the next one's gonna be and the time, and hopefully we can have some more questions on there. All right. Appreciate you. Keep going. Hope this helps.